These components apply both qualitative research and quantitative research, right?
Yeah, yeah, sure. They
So I just want to make sure that can you pick up one topic that apply the four in one topic? For example, like the topic related to cognitivism
mm,
and the theory related to linguistic,
mm.
functional linguistic, something like that, and another theory like teaching method. So just pick up one topic that include the four component that you just mentioned, so that I'm clear about that.
Oh, okay. I don't mean that I don't mean that all this theory must go together with one topic. It depends on the relevancy of the theory toward your research problem, research topic. So what is your research topic? For example, if your research topic is about mm, university students learning grammar, okay, and then you pick up fragment sentences, okay. This is this is just the example that um, popped up to my mind when you asked me the question. Um, if your topic is about university students learning grammar, and of course, when we talk about grammar, it is broad. So we want to be specific about particular kind of the grammar. So you talk about fragment sentence. Mm. Okay. So what you need to do is to review the relevant theory, relevant theories. So it doesn't matter you start with learning theory or you start with or linguistic theory or any other principle, but you have to be able to pick up which theory that are aligned with your that support your topic here, university student learning grammar, and you pick up fragment sentences. Then, to some extent, you need to review um, all the things. I think I pick up 1.1. I look at linguistic theory first. Okay, so 1.1.1 behavioral linguistic. Is it the spelling correct, right? Okay, behavioral linguistic. So what behavioral linguistic is all about? Okay, it's like learning a new language is conditional, which means um, behavioral linguistic is begins with sound system, and I think we trace back the experiment um, of the sound. We won't forget Skinner when we talk about Paulo Skinner when we talk about behavioral linguistics. It starts with sounds, a sound system. So whenever he fed a dog, he rang a bell. I think you remember that. So the ringing the bell several times every day, the dog, acquired that the ringing means food. So when you ring a bell, whenever they rang a bell, the dog approached them for food because it's food. It's meal time. So behavioral linguists believe that um, it, language is a collection of sound, a sound system. So to learn the language is to learn sound. But then such behavioral linguistics may not be compatible with the fragment sentences or fragment sentences, or it's relevant to fragment sentences, but we need to review them, okay? And then mental linguistics. By Chomsky, when we talk about, you know, we are born with the innate knowledge. So when we are born, we have one part of our brain, the universal grammar, which is stored in the language faculty. So when we are exposed to any languages before the puberty period, our brains, function help us acquire the language that we are exposed to. So language is a system now. And then Chomsky developed, generative grammar, transformative generative grammar. So he said there are rules in the language. So when we are exposed to the language environment, we form such rules. So you have to go to that details. That's about linguistic. And then after mental linguistic, you go to what we call cognitive linguistic. So what we mean by cognitive linguistic? We talk about the process of the information in our brain. So learning is thinking. You think. So when we think, we process the information in our brain. So you have to understand cognitive linguistic, right? Then functional linguistic. Sorry, I don't have much time to go in details about each theory. You need to go do more research on that. But I'm trying to highlight how can I elaborate all this theory into the research that I planning to work on here, university student learning grammar fragment sentences. Okay. Then functional linguistics focus on meaning. So not rule-based, but meaning-based. So we move from sound to rule, and then now to information processing in our brain, thinking, and then moving on to meaning focus, more meaning. So language is meaning system. And then because it has meaning first, before you come up with the rule or the structure, for example. And then the last one is sociolinguistics. Sociolinguistic. It's not just meaning, but meaning within the use of the language in society. So they call language is a semiotic system. Language is a semiotic system. You cannot separate the language from the speaker who are speaking or using the language. And then you have to make sense of it now. And then I move on to number two. We talk about, 1.2. 1.2, we talk about learning theory. Of course, when you are writing, you won't review all the things. You pick up the theory that you think relevant to your problem that you want to address here. Okay, but I just want to highlight all the relevant theory. Now, we have 1.2.1. Behaviorism. Okay, behaviorism. Okay, we have 1.2.2 cognitivism. Okay, 1.2.3 constructivism. 1.2.4 humanism. 1.2.5 connectivism. So we know that learning through behaviorism is that's right. Learning take place only when there is a condition. Condition can come as in the form of incentive, praise, a word, which are called positive reinforcement. Condition can come in the form of punishment. Okay, so if there is no condition, there is no learning is going to take place. And cognitivism is about thinking, processing information for learning. Then they acquire the linguistic element and form system. There are a lot of things to talk about, so I just go briefly. And constructivism, learning through experience. Only when learners, are experienced in their own learning, they learn something. Humanism is about goals, motivations, purposes, needs, that because learners are human, so when they come to school, they have their own purposes, their own needs, their own goal and interest. So we start from that, from these things, goal, interest, motivation, then we build up the momentum for learning activities in the classroom. Connectivism, learning through in the digital age. So we based on technology, like here, Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom, Google Meet, Zoom, so on and so forth. Now, we have like some more, 1.3. Now we talk about teaching method. So we have 1.3.1 GTM, grammar transition method. We have 1.3.2 audio lingual method, on and so forth. So I think I'm not going to talk about this, largely, because we have a lot. We have little time. Okay, so the 12th principle. Don't forget that. 1.4 Brown's. 2007 principle for learning. Principle for teaching and learning language. A language. Okay. Right. If you're not clear about it, do some research. Research now. Okay, so come back to the topic: university learning grammar, fragment sentences. I guess. This one we can have structural linguistic. Okay. So I guess the topic university student learning grammar, when you focus on fragment sentences, your topic would be more on structural linguistic, because it's about structure. Fragment sentences is about structure. So structural linguistic, mental linguistic, cognitive linguistics are the most relevant to your study now. Okay, so you pick up like that and you review them, and then you see the issues that arrive in the topic here. Okay, and the most relevant theory for your topic, university student learning grammar, you're focusing on fragment sentences, maybe cognitivism. Okay, right, and maybe grammar translation method is the most relevant teaching method that you pay attention to. And in the 12 Brown 27 principle, we have similar to this GTM, and also cognitivism, we also have that one. Okay, for those who have completed TESOL 2003, get clear messages now on this 12 principle teaching method theory, learning theory, not the linguistic theory, because we didn't have time to focus on that. Okay, so you see the relevant theory now that we need to pay attention to. Okay, and then from that review of the relevant theory, you go on to evidence on fragment sentences in the past research. What has been, the question is, what has been researched on this particular area? What has been researched? What has been found? Okay, in this particular area. So when you review the research article, please make a list of what has been found in the previous research on fragment sentences, and then pay attention to what has not been found on this particular area. Okay, now I'm talking specifically about qualitative research now. So what has been researched on this particular area? What has not been found on this particular area? Then I need you to go back to your review about the structural linguistics, especially the fragment sentences. Now I break the bracket for you. So what is the literature about the fragment sentences? Okay, so from the first place, sentences, correct, right? Why it's double line? Okay. So in the literature, I know that sentences, 4 types of fragment sentences. Okay, so I review the 4 types. Type 1. What is it? No main verb. I'm sorry. Yeah, no main verb in a sentence. Okay. Type 2, maybe. I'm not quite sure. What's that? Relative clause. Problem with relative clause. clauses. Type 3. Help me. What was that? Repeat the subject.
Yeah.
Subject repetition. Okay. Type 4. There's one more. Please help me. What's that?
Should be no verb and no subject.
No subject. Okay, very good. Okay. Really, yeah, thank you very much. No subject, or we call uh, dropping subject. Yeah. In a sentence. Okay. Now, when you review this, literature, so put it like that. When you review this literature, then you find out that there are 4 types of fragment sentences. So type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4. And then you go to the learning theory, cognitivism, the learning theory about learning is information processing. In order to argue that if the learning doesn't take place properly, the acquisition of the sentences will not be appropriate, then fragment sentences arise. And then you probably review on the here GTM method. When the GTM method, one of the important elements in the GTM method is contrastive analysis hypothesis. Hypothesis. Okay. We call CAH. Okay. Contrastive analysis hypothesis. So what we mean by contrastive analysis hypothesis? So when the 2 languages are in contact, problem arise. You see what I mean? Contrastive analysis hypothesis. When 2 languages, English and Khmer, are in contact, the problems arise. So the hypothesis say that when the 2 languages, when the systems of the 2 languages are totally different, the acquisition of the language, the second language or the second language is difficult. So what we can help our students to learn better is to analyze the contrastive elements of the 2 language system. So fragment sentences results from the differences between the system of the 2 languages. Okay, for example, when we speak the language, the second language, the second language, our Khmer students often bring their L1 system into play, for example. So whether or not we analyze the differences between the 2 languages system for our student in the class. Okay, that's very useful, right? Then in here, what has been researched and what has not been researched yet is, to answer this question, the evidence on fragment sentences in the past research, And these two questions, what has been researched on this particular area, which means what has been researched on fragment sentences in the past research, what has not been found on this sentence fragment in the past research. It's to use the evidence that you found in the past research with this theory, this one. So we have type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4. What has been done in the past research regarding this type of fragment sentences? Okay, so you want to go on, or you want to replicate the research, or you want to to fill in the gap, right? So when you answer these questions, then you will be able to go on with the specific problem you want to address. So now you can go on with specific problem you want to address in your research. Okay, let me include okay, so you go to that, and then you go to that research activities, then you go to that research questions, and then conceptual framework. Okay, so here and so here, but this time I move my arrow upward. Okay, because conceptual framework inform the research problem. So conceptual framework come back. Okay, and then research design. Okay, and let me move up. Okay, and then does it make sense, everyone, when I draw like that? So we have arrow down, 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 and then arrow up, up, up. Okay, so it could be clear enough. Okay, Ian, what do you think about that? I'm sorry, I think this is the best way that I can help explain to your answer your question.